In 1987, standing at the Brandenburg Gate Bridge in Berlin, President Ronald Reagan issued a powerful challenge to Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. This speech became a defining moment of the Cold War, embodying America's staunch opposition to Soviet totalitarianism and its commitment to democratic ideals. For decades, this sentiment shaped the American conservative movement as the Republican Party championed freedom, opposed authoritarianism, and framed the Soviet Union and later Russia as an adversary. But fast forward to today, and the Republican Party stance has dramatically shifted. Now a wing of the GOP, particularly within the Make America Great Again MAGA movement, expresses a surprising affinity for Vladimir Putin's authoritarian regime and praises other autocrats worldwide. This change signals a paradigm shift in American conservatism, revealing deep political, ideological, and cultural shifts within the party and America itself. The Cold War era, Reagan's version of freedom versus oppression. To understand the magnitude of this shift, it's essential to grasp the political climate of Reagan's time. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in an ideological struggle between democracy and communism, individual liberty and state control. Reagan, an ardent anti-communist, saw the Soviet Union as an evil empire that oppressed its citizens and threatened global instability. The call to tear down this wall was more than an appeal for physical change. It was a symbolic demand for freedom aimed at dismantling an oppressive regime and supporting the democratic aspirations of Eastern Europeans under Soviet rule. The conservative movement embraced Reagan's vision of a world where American leadership would defend democracy and freedom. This commitment to conservative foreign policy guided the GOP stance against authoritarian regimes worldwide. Throughout the 1980s and beyond, Republicans celebrated leaders who stood up to autocrats, and opposing Russia became almost synonymous with American patriotism. Reagan's message resonated for generations, becoming a rallying cry for a robust, values-driven foreign policy centered on freedom, democracy, and the rejection of authoritarianism. In recent years, however, a marked shift has occurred within the Republican Party. The Make America Great Again movement, popularized by former President Donald Trump, has introduced new priorities and a different perspective on global alliances and adversaries. Far from condemning authoritarianism, MAGA-aligned Republicans have shown surprising admiration for leaders like Vladimir Putin. This shift became particularly visible during the 2016 election, as Donald Trump praised Putin's leadership style, calling him a strong and savvy leader. Since then, several MAGA Republicans have openly supported or defended Russia, even as Putin has intensified crackdowns on political opposition and engaged in aggressive actions abroad, most notably the invasion of Ukraine. The MAGA movement's drift towards authoritarian sympathies reflects several deeper changes within the party. For one, its focus has shifted from a traditional commitment to global democracy toward a narrower, more insular nationalism. Rather than Reagan's vision of America as a beacon of freedom, the MAGA movement promotes a vision of American strength and self-interest, often detached from concerns about human rights or democracy. This worldview is compatible with an admiration for strongmen leaders who appear decisive and unencumbered by democratic checks and balances. This shift is not just a matter of change in leadership, but reflects broader ideological, political, and cultural transformations within American conservatism. One key factor is a growing sense of disillusionment with American foreign interventions, particularly after the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Many conservatives feel that the United States has overextended itself, investing too much in foreign conflicts with little benefit to the average American. This sentiment has fueled a desire to focus on America first. The America First priorities is a slogan that implies reducing foreign entanglements and focusing resources domestically, even if it means turning a blind eye to authoritarianism abroad. Another contributing factor is the growing influence of cultural and social issues on Republican priorities. MAGA Republicans frequently position themselves as defenders of traditional or Christian values, which they argue are under threat from liberalism, multiculturalism, and globalization. For some, Putin's Russia is viewed as a bastion of conservative values, particularly because of its opposition to LGBTQ plus rights, its promotion of Orthodox Christianity, and its embrace of nationalism. This perception allows MAGA Republicans to view Putin not as a threat, but as a cultural ally against what they perceive as liberal encroachment on American values. The media landscape also plays a role. Right-wing media outlets such as Fox News and various online platforms have increasingly echoed positive rhetoric about Putin and other strongman leaders. Figures like Tucker Carlson have questioned why America should oppose Russia's policies, framing the country's leadership as a natural counter to liberal democracies and globalism. This shift in messaging has normalized pro-Putin sentiments among some Republicans, further fueling the base's acceptance of authoritarian values. The implications of this shift are significant and extend far beyond party lines. By embracing or tolerating authoritarian figures like Putin, MAGA Republicans send a message that the defense of democracy is no longer an essential American value. This stance weakens America's moral authority on the global stage, undermining the country's ability to support pro-democracy movements and condemn human rights abuses. For decades, America has been seen, rightly or wrongly, as a defender of democratic principles worldwide. A shift towards authoritarian sympathies could erode this image and encourage authoritarian leaders to act more aggressively, knowing that American condemnation might be muted or non-existent. Furthermore, this paradigm shift threatens to deepen polarization within the United States. The MAGA movement's admiration for authoritarianism reveals a rift between traditional Republicans who still oppose Reagan's vision and MAGA Republicans who are more isolationists and nationalists. This division creates tensions within the GOP and makes it difficult for the party to present a unified vision on foreign policy, weakening its influence in Congress and beyond. Domestically, MAGA's embrace of authoritarian values sets a troubling precedent. By admiring the strongman style of governance, MAGA Republicans normalize disregard for democratic norms and institutions. This can encourage a more authoritarian approach to governance within the United States, undermining democratic institutions and democratic principles. When leaders praise authoritarian figures, it signals to their supporters that democracy and constitutional checks and balances are negotiable, potentially paving the way for greater erosion of American democratic norms. The journey from Ronald Reagan's demand to tear this wall down to today's MAGA Republicans praising Vladimir Putin is a testament to how political movements can evolve and sometimes abandon their foundational values. Ronald Reagan's conservative vision held democracy and freedom as essential American principles, positioning the United States as a counterbalance to authoritarianism worldwide. In contrast, today's MAGA Republicans are redefining conservatism, often prioritizing nationalism and cultural values over democratic ideals. This shift reveals profound changes within the Republican Party and American society as a whole, with implications for America's role in the world and the health of its democracy. The shift away from Reagan's legacy towards a new conservative vision risks weakening the nation's commitment to democracy, both at home and abroad, creating a world where the values of freedom and human rights may no longer stand at the forefront of America's identity. Thank you.